Thank you for checking out the new Sportsline Podcast on CHCH. I'm Bubba O'Neil. Folks, the continual theme of this podcast boasts that Southern Ontario is a hotbed for successful teams, executives, and in today's case, athletes and their personal stories. Today, we reveal a story about the ups and downs of life that you must hear and see to believe. This individual is a son of Italian immigrants, grew up in Thorold, and attended Dennis Morris High School. His love for the sport of soccer translated to a love of kicking the old pigskin. As we'll learn, his trip to the professional level was one that required patience, perseverance, and the true belief of himself and his abilities. After tasting success, he returned to the region where he grew up and looked to help others. From that point, his life would never be the same. Dan Giancola, author of Be That One, Why Does It Have to Be Someone Else? Why Not Me? I am so pleased to have you here on the Sportsline couch.
Thank you so much for having me, man. You said author, and it still sounds so weird.
You had a story to tell.
Yeah, I did.
I'll tell you, before we even go to the book, there's just so much to uncover about yourself. And I remember you as that kicker. And I'll tell you, the thing that really resonated with me is that I talked about the perseverance of you getting into the Canadian Football League. Yeah. The line, I'm a 29-year-old rookie, we'll never forget.
Still to this day, there's still a part of me. I always tell people that, I guess when you're chasing your dream to, for whatever it is, age is just a number. And if you have the ability to do something and you have the love and the passion, you chase it. And it sounds crazy when I sit there and I think about that number 29 and, being a rookie when most in this sport anyway, most guys are retiring. So it was pretty cool.
And where did this all start off? Give me the line. I mean, how many tryouts?
I went to 131 free agent camps. It was quite the tour. In all those, unfortunately, I fortunate enough, I went number one as far as, kicker ratings when, I went, for example, the Argos or the Ticats, whatever team I went to. And, but unfortunately, the first question that the general manager would ask me is, what school did you play at? And, of course, shyly, I sheepishly, I would say, I'm sorry, high school, and I played semi-pro football. And, I think Nick Volpe, God bless his soul, the Toronto Argonauts, he had said to me, he said, son, without game film, I'm sorry, you're never really going to get that chance. And sure enough, he was right. Like I said, 131, free agent camps over basically 9 years. And, so there was a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but it created the man that I am today,
And how did you handle the no's?
It was tough. I'm not going to lie to you. My wife had bought me this poster entitled Determination. And it's a picture of a guy getting tackled, falling down, and it's entitled Determination. It doesn't... why does it always, how did it go again? Oh my goodness, I completely forget now. It's not whether you get knocked down, but rather if you get back up again. And I'm sitting there and, I would come home and I'd be dejected. The phone, the week would go, a day would go, a week would go, and, a promised phone call from a general manager. And, you're just sitting at the end of the bed and you're just sitting there and you're staring at this poster. And, you just realize that, you'll get other opportunities. There'll be other chances out there. You just got to stay positive. And it's like, it says determination. You get knocked down, you get back up again. And, it's hard to do that. 131 free agent camps over 9 years. But, it never got easier. But, persistence is what allowed me success.
The persistence did pay off.
Yes.
And even though there was a little rub with the Tiger Cats, it all happened with the Argonauts.
A lot of people, unfortunately, it never made it to the book because the book was absolutely massive when I wrote it. But a lot of people don't really realize is my first team that I fell in love with, and I'm not saying it because I'm in a Hammer. Anybody who know, you could talk to Rob Hitchcock, Paul Esboliton, Darren Flutie, all those names. Bernie Custis, obviously, he's not here to attest for that. I love that man so much. But the years of going to Brock University, And I take my one rubber football that I stole from my high school, and I would go to their Brock University when they're practicing, and I'd be out there the entire morning sesh and afternoon sesh, and I would go on the far field.
2 days back then.
Yeah, man. And so I was doing 2 days, and I would kick literally probably 300 balls a day for the couple weeks that they were there. And I just remember Rob Hitchcock, God bless him, came up to me one day, and it was one of the biggest compliments I ever got. And he said, "Kid, don't think for 1 minute we don't see you over there. You know, keep it up, and don't stop. One day you'll get it." I'll never forget that. And then like 5 minutes later, Ozzie came up to me and he said to me, he says, "You got a great leg, kid. Keep it up." So it was that I was like, wow, Rob Hitchcock.
These guys are stars.
Right. You know, Dunnigan, I believe Cavillo was there, the backup quarterback, I think, at the time. And it was just wow. I was just in wow. I was in awe. So, yeah, man, I was a huge Ticat fan at the beginning. And then, you know, of course, the Argos were the team that gave me the opportunity. So, of course, you're going to gradually make your way that way. But, you know, I tried. Lord knows I tried with the Ticats many times. But, yeah, it never happened. Interesting
enough, the big kick that really, I guess, got you on the map. Yeah. Because at that time, the rivalry between the Argonauts and Ticats was so strong.
Yeah.
Was against those same Ticats.
You know, this is in the book, and I'm not trying to sell the book, obviously. I'm just telling you the story. So basically what ended up, that's the kick right there. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. Basically, I went up to Rob Malish, who was the media guy, and I said to Rob, this is what my warm-up before the game, God honest truth. I said to him, Rob, I had a dream last night. I had a dream that I kicked the game-winning field goal. He looks at me and like a serious face, like a serious face. And I said to him, "What?" And he said to me, he says, "Dude, if you ever do that, your life will never be the same again." And I didn't get it. I didn't get it at first. And then I remember I could have very well been the GOAT, and I don't mean the greatest of all time either. I mean, like, I could have been GOAT. The guy. Yeah, the GOAT. We're talking.
I missed.
Yeah, I missed. You're probably going to get cut. You know, I missed from the 42-yard line, left hash. And Corey Grant returned it for a touchdown down the sideline. I'll never forget it. And Mike Philbrook absolutely lambasted me.
Oh.
He left me for dead in the middle.
99. He's a beast.
And we were friends, you know. So I thought, up until then, I thought, you're friends even on the field until that happened. And I'm like, wow, I guess no. But I just remember looking up at him, and he looked down at me and he said, "Sorry, buddy, you went over the line of scrimmage." I got up and somehow I ran down Corey. Unfortunately, touchdown. Ozzie goes and kicks, I think, a 51-yard field goal. So now the game is tied. And I remember I had some serious bruised ribs. I couldn't breathe. I legit couldn't breathe. I'm getting oxygen sitting back on the bench just like this. Coach Barker comes walking over to me and he says, "Hey, you okay?" I said, "Yeah, Coach, I'm good." Meanwhile, I'm thinking, oh, my God, what did I get myself into, right? And he says, "You're going to go out there and you're going to kick the game-winning field goal." Minute 30, whatever was left in the game, Eric Blunt returns a beautiful kick. Pinball makes a miraculous catch and puts me in position from the 42-yard line from the opposite hash. And Jimmy Kemp just looked at me. I remember jogging out in the field. And I remember, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I remember saying, "God, I know it was supposed to be like this. Thank you." And this is as I'm jogging out in the field. In my mind, I already made the field goal. And Jimmy looks at me. He goes, "Put your head down, follow through. Let's get the hell out of here." He put it a little bit, different. I'm just being clean. But, he said that. And I put my head down. I followed through. And the second I left my foot, I literally took off. I saw it, and you just know as a kicker, right? So biting any penalties, making me look like a complete fool. I took off running, and I did my soccer slide, and next thing you know, the guys are all burying me, and I'm running up into the crowd, and afterwards we're in the locker room, and I was tying my shoe, untying my shoe, and Coach Jerry Townend, our head athletic therapist, asked me to go get changed, and I'm like, "Well, I'm icing up my ribs." He says, "No, you should go." And I'm like, "Okay." So I go in the locker room, in the change room part, and I'm untying my shoes. Next thing you know, I hear this commotion, and I could barely move, Bubba. Like, honestly, it would take me like 2 minutes to go from here, like to sit up. I was in so much pain. And I look up, and there is a wall of media. And I thought to myself, Rob was right. My life will never be the same again. And, it came to the Ticats, but, in all fairness, I did it again in Toronto against Montreal on guaranteed win night. So, it wasn't anything personal to Hamilton. It was just something that, you got to do, right?
That's your job.
Yeah.
That's your job. We always talk about missing field goals and what it feels like for field goal kickers, because sometimes there is some separation for the punter and the kicker, because the offense and defense are doing their things. Even some of the special teamers, they're kind of running up and down the field. But you guys are generally kind of kicking the ball by yourself.
Right.
When that opportunity, and when your name is called, and you talk, that was a great story you just told, by the way. That was marvelous. But can you tell me that feeling of when you boot it through? Like, how?
As in, like, just a general field goal, or just like a game winner?
A game winner.
Of course you're elated. You're really excited. And I've just learned a long time ago, like, guys joke around it, but I'm sure there's some truth with it when they always say, like, kickers aren't athletes. And I totally disagree with that, because I played with Noel Prefontaine. I mean, that guy was a brute.
Yes.
That guy was a brute. Hank Olisic, another one. I always gave thanks to the players first, and always the players first, whether it was a, defensive or, big offensive play. And does it feel great? Of course it feels fantastic. But, it's kind of like when I played the game, I always wanted my family and friends to enjoy it just as much as I did and bring them along with me. So, like, when you kick a game-winning field goal, it's like, it's not just you, dude. You know what I mean? There's your holder, there's your line, there's your center, there's your defense and offense who have been battling all game.
The 35,000 in the crowd.
The 35,000 people in the crowd, right? So, you kind of just, you sit back and you just kind of, you bring everybody into it. And that's the way I was. I was never a me guy. I've never been a me guy my entire life. My fitness studio that I have, I always, that's the first time I actually said I always say our fitness studio, our family. And that's the way I am. So I'm sure other kickers maybe would be a little bit more like, it feels fantastic. And it does. But at the same time, I always enjoyed involving everybody, man. Like, it's just me.
On that feeling of winning and joy and spreading to the family, your football family and your own family, 2004 comes the lifting of the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That was crazy. That was crazy. I was on the practice roster. I came back Noel had a concussion, so I played against Hamilton. I think it was the last regular season game. The ownership was just absolutely amazing then, and pinball was just amazing. And at the time, my family was going through a lot of illness. My father-in-law had colon cancer, my mother-in-law colon cancer, my wife had colon cancer, my dad got diagnosed with Parkinson's, and this was all like within that year. And a lot of people don't know that. And so for me to just be there was like, wow. And then that guilt that overcame me, because here I am, going to Ottawa for the Grey Cup, and I got no family with me. I had no family with me. Everybody was home, so, and, but, I got to hold that cup up on the field. I just remember looking at one of the guys, and I just remember, hey, dog, man, can I hold that thing up just once? So right away, I just threw somebody my cell phone, or no, my video camera. And it just happened that somebody took a snapshot. On the book cover, there's a picture of me holding up the Grey Cup. And, there you go. So that is the only picture of me holding up the Grey Cup like that. There's one, a couple of me in the change room where I'm, drinking from the cup and all that fun stuff. But that is the only picture right there that I had gotten. And, everybody thinks that was the greatest moment, and don't get me wrong, Bubba, that was an amazing moment, bar none. Like, wow, like, oh my God, I did it. But it really wasn't. The kick that changed my life literally forever, was Hamilton, the game winner. But it actually was the exhibition game. Believe it or not, it was the exhibition game. Because if I missed that 45-yarder from the left hash in the second half, all those years, if I missed it, everybody would have been right. Everybody would have been right. He never played college, university, and this is why. He can't handle the pressure.
Right.
If I made that kick, it was for me. I proved all the critics wrong, and I didn't go out to do that, but I made it. And, so, yeah, that's pretty, that's awesome. The Grey Cup was amazing, but still, I would say over that definitely would be my exhibition game kick.
You play the game for 5 or 6 years, but then you're forced to walk away from the sport. Why?
Oh, man. It's like I was saying to you, cancer was running rampant through the family. And I just remember it was 2004. We win the Grey Cup. I came back. I was healthy. I was feeling good. I was kicking great. I was finally kicking off where Pre would always be doing the kickoffs. I was kicking off well. And I thought, okay, 2005, man, I got this. And next thing you know, something just came over me, the way I was raised. And, you don't have to be Italian raised or European raised. You just got to come from a close-knit family and know that family's always first. A lot of people are like, well, you came from an Italian. No, I'm Italian. Of course, I'm Italian. But the way I was brought up is family's always first. So I remember my agent called me and he says, hey, so, you ready for 2005? And I said, listen, let's just do this. And it sounds morbid. I said, just pretend I died. And he says to me, what the hell are you talking about? Just pretend I died, dude. Just act like I died. And he says, I don't get it. I said, I got to walk away. He said, everybody thought that, was under the impression that nobody wanted me. There was teams that were calling me. I even had a couple calls from the NFL to just go for a workout. And, I just made that decision that no, it's not time right now. It's not time. I need to be home. My daughter was 3. You know what I mean? And my wife is just recovering from colon cancer surgery. And, I 150% made the right decision. No question about it. And so no second guessing.
Well, you make that decision and, you start to get into the world of, helping others.
Yes.
And that was in terms of physical fitness. And you are probably again, like you are right now, in great, wonderful shape.
Oh, thank you.
But then God comes calling with a real message. Can you run us through that and exactly what happened?
Well, I'll try to keep it somewhat short because it is a long story. But during COVID, we had obviously we were the first ones that the government shut down because you're in a position where you're hands on and you're in close proximity of people and germs and all that fun stuff. So we were the first ones they shut down, and within probably about 3 weeks, I was getting a lot of phone calls, texting, emails, and it was some serious stuff, man. People were feeling suicidal. Because it was all new. Everybody was panicking, right? Thinking, oh my God, if I get this, am I going to die? And if I get it, I'm going to give it to somebody else. And then the next thing you know, alcohol, drugs, spousal abuse. And I just remember saying to my wife, I said, honey, we're getting $2,000 a month. I think that's what we were allotted, the CERB or whatever it was. I think it was called CERB. We're $2,000. So right off the top, you got to pay the government back. So there's $500 of that. Another $500 went to because you still got to pay rent because they weren't going to stop that. So now I'm making $1,000 a month. What am I going to do with it? I mean, thank God I had it, but what am I going to do with $1,000 a month, especially these days? And I said, babe, I'm going to do online for free. So I started it. I started the online for free, and it spread like a wildfire. Next thing you know, within like a month, we had like 5,000 people When I say to you around the world, like Australia, England, it was insane. My family from Italy were coming on and they were doing, or they were, video or whatever they were doing, taping it or whatever they were doing. And it was spreading like wildfire. One day, just like I am right now with you, walked in the studio, got my coffee, I had a tea. I had both of them that day. I don't know why I bought both, but I had both of them. I put them on my stereo, and I usually did my classes from 10:30 to 11. 10 to 11, I'll never forget it, 10 to 11, all of a sudden I felt like I had the flu. And when I say the flu, I'm talking like, I'm sure you've had the flu bad in your life. Like
sure.
Bad,
yep.
Okay. It came on within 10 seconds. And I was sick. And I said, okay, I got 10 minutes left. I got to do this. I got to finish this. I got 5,000 people online. I just got to finish this. So I do the last 10 minutes. And at that point, I signed off. And I walked outside for a half a second. I was starting to sweat. And I'm like, wow, I feel like crap. I went to call my wife right away. I said, babe, hey, listen, do you feel okay? She says, yeah, I feel fine. What's wrong? I says, man, food poisoning. Like, what did we eat last night? Mm-hmm. She goes, oh, honey, I feel fine. Just, go home. Just get some rest. You're done. I said, okay. Next thing I know, I run into the bathroom and I start dry heaving for 10 minutes. I thought I broke every rib, literally just dry heaving horribly. Later on, so I'm just kind of fast forwarding a little bit. The media got a hold of everything, what happened to me. And I told the media, I said to them, the best and worst thing that ever happened to me was I had a medicine ball and I rolled my ball. A lot of times it would be my gallbladder. So the feeling I was getting was like right here for gallbladder, and then it radiates into my back. So initially I thought, all right, well, the nausea, I'm starting to feel a little something right here. Mm-hmm. It's my gallbladder. I went on my back and I started rolling my back out on the ball. And the pain shot from my back right through my chest. And I'll tell you something, I don't know what it feels like if somebody got a sword and stuck it through you. I think I would have rather had that than that pain that I had. Next thing you know, I knew something was really bad. I got in the car and I started driving home. And I called my wife and I said, babe, I think I'm having a heart attack. She goes, what are your symptoms? And she works in the doctor's office. And she says, turn around and go to the hospital now. I'll meet you there. I go, I'm scared. She goes, now. I remember, if you're familiar with St. Catherine's, Meridian Center, Ice Dogs, I was making that bend and I was literally driving and I was underneath my dash. I was in that much pain. I was underhanding the steering wheel. And I was underneath, and I remember making peace with God. And I said, God, if this is my time, thank you so much. I've had a beautiful life. Please just take care of my wife and my daughter. And I drove into the hospital, literally drove in the hospital during COVID. So I had to get screened, not once, but twice. Finally, they got me. They sat me down in whatever A was supposed to be. And 20 minutes later, somebody came out and said, hey, I hear you're having a heart attack. And I said, I think so. They did a blood pressure cuff on me. I was 170 over 111. I wasn't really that worried about it because when I bet you if you put a cuff on me right now, I probably would be that because I get anxiety, right? So, but then they put me on the ECG. And next thing you know, she rips it off, and God bless her. What a sweetheart of a nurse. She literally grabs it. I'll be back in a minute, Mr. Giancola. Sure, thank you. Next thing you know, she comes back in, and there's like 8, 9 nurses, 3 doctors, and they're putting these blue pills in my mouth, telling me to chew. They're spraying this spray underneath my tongue, and they said to me, Mr. Giancola, you're having what we call an acute heart attack. Time is of the essence. What do you say? What do you say? I'm in the ambulance and we're flying down the highway, and then reality hit. She ripped my shirt off, and I knew exactly what she was doing because of the years of being a personal trainer, right? So you have to get your certification in CPR and that. So I knew we were putting on a defibrillator. And she said, just in case, Mr. Giancola. And that's when it hit me. I was looking up at the ceiling of the ambulance and just thinking to myself, it's not my time. It's not my time. I got to the hospital and, Hamilton. God bless that hospital. The amazing, oh my Lord, they saved my life. They grabbed my wrist. Mr. Giancola, please don't talk. They have a monitor like this on the side. They rolled up the monitor and they said, if you want to watch, you're more than welcome. We'll explain as we go. No clue what's happening. And next thing you know, I felt a little cut right here. You can't even see anything. You don't even know I had anything. And 40, 45, 50 minutes later, they said, we got it. We're going to the next one. I'm like, the next what? What did you get? I had what they called the widowmaker. I had 100% blockage of the main artery. The doctor said I should have died right in my studio. I should not have survived that. Adjacent to that, it was 80% blockage of another artery. And
but you're in great shape.
That's what saved my life. The doctors made it very clear to me. They said, the exact words they said to me was, my heart is like a Clydesdale. They can't believe the strength and the power of my beats. And it was forcing blood. So hence why I was feeling so nauseous and so sick with the flu-like symptoms. And, and by the grace of God, I survived that. Little did I know what was coming, but, yeah. Whew. Yeah.
And I know how difficult this must be for you. And I know you have a book that talks about this and details your emotions on all of this.
Yeah.
I'm almost afraid to ask you what happened after that.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, talking is good. Talking helps, the PTSD and all that fun stuff. And the anxiety comes into play, of course. But a couple years later, August 17th, 2022, another great day. And it was funny because my mom, I did my class in the morning, and I was like, come on, let's go, guys. I was so fired up. I just felt great.
You're fully recovered now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 2 years, I bought into what everybody said to me. The doctor said, I'm completely fine. You're good. Don't worry about anything. Live your life. Just you need to change certain things. And so I did. And like I said, August 17th, I was sick. It was right after my night class. And I was cleaning. It was about 8:30, 8 o'clock. And sitting on the couch, just like this in my office, by myself. I always lock the doors. And all of a sudden, the only way I can describe it is, if you've ever gone out with an anesthetic, whatever, you've got to go to surgery or something, doctor says, count down from 10 to 0. Next thing you know, you get to like 7, 8, and you're kind of like, whoa. And everything becomes like tunnel vision. I had no clue what was happening. It's the scariest thing in the world. The heart attack, it's the pain. A stroke is the unknown. Because when you're having a heart attack, you feel it, you know it. A stroke is like all of a sudden you're going out. Next thing you know, I sitting here and my right leg turned in, my right arm turned in. I was completely paralyzed, and I fell into the ground. And I was trying to push myself up. You're
all by yourself.
All by myself. There's nobody there. I'll fast forward 2 seconds with you. The doctors told me that this was one of those where it was like 90. It was a massive stroke. Massive stroke. They told me 90 minutes I was brain dead. I would have been dead. Like not even considered a vegetable. You're dead. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground and I was able to somehow push. I try to remember. I remember I was trying to hold myself up. I was like this, and I kept falling. And next thing you know, somebody grabbed my face, and it was my buddy. And my buddy walked in, and he grabs me by my face, and I could barely hear him, and I recognize him. And I just remember his lips, 911. And next thing you know, I'm on the ground, and I looked to my left, and I saw a set of wheels from the stretcher. and a couple sets of brown boots with blue navy.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like me right now, but they're boots. Next thing I know, I'm out, and I start coming to in Niagara Falls, and I'm in the ICU, and I looked to my right, and I remember seeing my wife and my daughter, and they were asking me everybody was asking me questions. I couldn't answer, and I was getting so agitated. I was getting so angry because I couldn't respond. I just couldn't, nothing. And they would say something to me, and I would just look away. And next thing you know, I just remember them saying, we're taking him to Hamilton. So to kind of put in perspective, a massive stroke is on a Richter scale of 10. So 10 being the worst, 1 or 2, no really damage, maybe a little bit of damage. 10 is permanent damage, disability, paralysis. So to put it in perspective, as I'm going to Hamilton by ambulance, the same hospital that I went for my heart attack, I was a 17. They gave me this, they administered this shot in Niagara Falls. It's called TPA, and it's a shot that they give somebody who is suffering from a stroke. And if administered within 4 hours, can definitely help with, your symptoms. We were 5 minutes. My daughter was in the ambulance. We were 5 minutes from pulling in. And all of a sudden, like on the book cover, at the bottom picture, you'll see me with me putting my arm up like this. My arm just shot up. That's the picture right there. My arm just shot up. That was the side that was paralyzed. And I was like, what's going on? The paramedic looks at me and she goes, hi, how are you? And I'm like, hi, how are you? And she says, good. I go, good. She goes, do you know where you are? And I says, ambulance? She goes, yeah. Can you do me a favor? Can you lift up your leg for me? So I lifted my left leg, no problem. Can you do the other leg for me? But I want you to stop me from pushing it down. And she couldn't budge it. So next thing you know, she asked me to lift my arm up like this, and she's pushing down on it. And she couldn't budge it. Next thing you know, she's calling in, and we pull in. And the doctors were all ready to go. They were wheeling me right into, I'm not sure if what's the, it's not the one where not the MRI where you go in like, I think it's CAT scan.
CAT scan.
It was the CAT scan. Mm-hmm. So they put me in the CAT scan right away. There was like 5 doctors. And once again, they tell me, please don't talk. We gotta, next thing you know, they pull me out. And at this point, I don't know what happened to me. I got no clue. I didn't know I had a stroke. No clue. All of a sudden they wheel me out and they said, Mr. Giancola, do you know why you're here? And so I was able to start responding. And I said, no. He says, well, you had a massive stroke. And I was buried, man. I was buried. You can't even put it into words, Bubba. You can't even put it into words. I fought so hard for 2 years mentally, physically, took a beating. And I bought in and I believed everybody that I'm fine, I'm perfect. And here I am once again, fighting for my life. As they were wheeling me out, I overheard the doctor say, Mrs. Giancola, he had what we call best case scenario. And said that he came in here at 17 and we were going to drill a hole in his skull to release the pressure. But he's leaving at 2. So they said, we're going to take him back to Niagara Falls and we're going to rehab him. We got to Niagara Falls, and again, long story short, the first day in ICU, I asked if I can get up and walk around because I swear to God I wasn't going to sit there and do this again. He said, well, we really don't advise it, but if you have somebody with you. Mm-hmm. So I took my wife, we grabbed the table, the tray, and she wanted to help me up, and I said, no, babe, this is on me. I felt like I was a baby. You're just taking these little steps. The second day I was speed walking in the in the hallway. The third day, I was literally jogging from door to door. So I would do like interval. And then I stopped. And I realized, wow, there's got to be about 100 people in this floor. And I'm the only one that's not being fed. I'm the only one that doesn't have to have his diaper changed. And I was just like, wow, you don't realize how blessed you are, buddy. And I started going again. I started doing my intervals in between the doors. And next thing I know, I hear laughter in my room. And my wife, I guess, looked at my daughter and said, "You're not going to believe what your daddy's doing." She goes, "What?" She goes, "He's running." So I get into the room and my daughter looks at me. She goes, "Dad, are you running down the hall?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "You're so embarrassing." So, to kind of make some light of it. And then right after that, about 5 seconds later, a doctor walked in and said, "Mr. Giancola, there's absolutely no need to keep you here. And you could probably drive within about a week, because normally they take your license for quite a while." Right. I had to promise them 1 week, no driving. And I sit before you right now just as good as I was 4 years ago.
No effects.
None. Every now and then, there might be a word, like for example, when I was trying to figure out what I was going to say a few seconds ago, every now and then I'll forget it.
I think that happens once you pass 40.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, let's go with that.
Because I as a broadcaster, right? Every once in a while, what was I going to say?
Absolutely. I'm
paid for this.
But if that's all it is, then you know what, man. I mean, I'm good with it. I'm blessed with it, and the stroke is what pushed me to finally write my book.
And this is why you write your book, because you want to spread that. I'll use a cheap word, in goodwill. Yeah. And all that you've learned, the lessons that you've gone through, the medical, the highs, the lows. Yeah. It's in Be That One.
Yeah.
And I think the best part about it is that not only is it chronicled in the book there, it's there for others to soak up, because there are other people that need help. Yeah. And you've extended that by continuing BTO performance. Yeah. And getting people in shape, getting people prepared. And I know you've said that you will work with anyone that's from 6 years old to 75 years old.
Yeah, and that's the range we have in there. That was my mission statement when I began this journey. It's 20 years actually this month that I've been a personal trainer. And, it's been about 12 years owning my own business. And that was a mission statement that I made to myself, a promise I made to myself, more than a mission statement, a promise that I will help anybody who walks through the door. And it's been challenging at times. And, you're not for everybody. Mm-hmm. Sometimes somebody walks in and they'll be like, "Oh, man, you're way too excitable," or the music is way too loud. And, mm-hmm. But it's very rare that happens. It's actually, it's one of the greatest things that I've ever done. I'm really enjoying my motivational speaking right now. So I don't know, man, maybe the time's on the clock right now, mm-hmm. In another chapter of my life, but it's pretty amazing right now.
Was it healing for you to do the book?
Oh man, it was murder. It was healing, but every emotion, like when I talk about depression, Perry Lefko, God bless him. Mm-hmm. He knew the days to kind of lay into me and be like, "Hey,
Sorry, Perry, who helped write you.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
sorry.
yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so from the Toronto Star, you the Toronto Star, covered the Argonauts for years.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I wouldn't want anybody else to write the book, and that's God honest truth. And I sent him a chapter, and I said to him, the chapter I sent him was actually the one where I kicked the game-winning field goal. Mm-hmm. And, I said, "Perry, I don't want this to be about football. I want it to be that one is not supposed to be meant for, I kicked the game-winning field goal, 131 free agent camps, and I did it. This is supposed to be about, not listening to the naysayers, believing in yourself, chase your dream." And so he says, "Send me the chapter." I sent him the chapter, and amazingly, I don't read. I got honest truth. I'm a picture guy. Mm-hmm. If I got that book, I'd probably look for the picture search. And then maybe if I like it, maybe I'll read a chapter or two. I'm not a reader. And next thing you know, he messages me back and he said, "Hey, oh, that's good." He says, do me a favor. I said, sure. Write me a chapter about your heart attack. And I'm like, yeah, but he says, just, okay. So I send it to him. Next thing you know, he says to me, okay, I'll do it. I'm like, you'll do what? Like, you know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself, I'll do what? Like, I asked him if he can maybe edit it for me or tell me if I'm, like, just a chapter.
Right.
And my wife reads it, and my wife's like, I think you better call him and verify that. I said, why? She goes, babe, I think he's talking about your book. I said, no. So I messaged him. I said, Perry, are we talking about the book? He goes, yeah, man. He goes, quit your crying, because I always cry. I'm always crying. He goes, quit your crying. Let's go. And next thing you know, man, I got the computer and, man, I hammered it away. From January 3rd, my goal was to finish it at the end of October, and have it out. And I'm telling you, to the day, I finished it. And then next thing you know, like a week later, we put it up on Amazon. And in the one night, we sold 12, 13, 1,400 books, and it became a bestseller instantly. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy, you know what I mean? And next thing you know, we're up to like 3,000. Since November 1st, we're like 3,300, 3,400 books sold. And it's leading into so many. Listen, I'm sitting beside you right now in the Hammer, and I'm on your podcast. And my book is sitting right in front of me. And I'm grateful.
Awesome. And I see you got a little forward from the one and only Pinball Clements. I mean, you talk motivation.
Okay, so again, I'm horrible when I say long story short, but really a long story short. I messaged Pin, and I said to him, Pin, I need a favor. He goes, anything, baby. And you know him. Anything, baby. Yes. What do you need, baby? And we're doing this on the field after one of the games that I went down to after a game. I said, I would be honored if you would forward my book. Anything for you, Clutch. Anything for you, baby. Just, you know what? Tell me what you need. So sure enough, I sent it to him. And God bless him, man. He is like one of the busiest people on the planet. And he calls me at 1:30 in the morning and he reads it to me. 1:30 in the morning. And I literally start crying. And then I messaged Perry and I said, you ain't going to believe this, bro. I said, it's done. The book is done, because that's all we were waiting for was Pin. And and it's so cool. He's just got a way of words, man. Just like the Grey Cup, just got a way of words.
Where do we find your book?
It's on Amazon, man. And if you're local and you're around BTO Performance, you're more than welcome. I just bought 300 more books because I was sold out. But you can get it on Amazon. Be that one, and
Dan, I got to wipe the tears for myself here, too, because I'm a bit of a crybaby, too.
Yeah.
And I hope that if it's not one, maybe many more, heard everything you said in this podcast, everything you've discussed and disclosed about your personal life. And I hope they're motivated. I hope they learn some lessons. I hope they read the book. But I say thank you for coming in. This can't be easy. I know you say you like the motivational speaking, and you certainly do have a story to tell. Yeah. But reliving it cannot be easy. But let it be known that we certainly appreciate you coming here and giving me part of your soul, part of your life, the highs and the lows.
Thank you, man. And I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. And if I could just leave with one last thing. If you're feeling sick, something doesn't feel right, get yourself checked. I'm nobody special, but I've taken care of my body my whole life, and I've tried to eat the best I can. Go get checked. You don't have to be 50. My wife got colon cancer at 31 years old. 31 years old, she got colon cancer. And I had a massive heart attack at the age of 50 and a stroke by 52. Go get checked if you don't feel well. It takes 2 seconds. It could save your life.
God bless, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Folks, we love talking sports from a local, provincial, and national perspective. If you do know of an athlete, team, or event to promote the Sportsline Podcast wants you, contact us on many of CHCH's social media platforms, and we'll get you right on the couch. And while you're at it, please comment, because we certainly do appreciate your feedback. For the wonderful minds and hands that make this podcast possible, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.